The biggest lie you have ever been told is that there is only one you. You wake up every morning believing there is a single person living inside your body, a stable self, a consistent identity, a permanent me. But if that were true, why does part of you want to save money while another part wants to spend it? Why does part of you want intimacy while another part pushes people away? Why does part of you want to forgive while another part wants revenge? Who exactly is the real you? If you've ever promised yourself you would stay calm and then exploded in anger, if you've ever felt confident at work but insecure in your relationships, if you've ever wondered why you keep making the same mistakes despite knowing better, then you've already encountered this mystery. Maybe you've noticed that different versions of you appear in different situations. You probably think you're being inconsistent, but what if that's not what's happening at all? By the end of this video, you'll understand why you are not psychologically one person. You'll understand how different inner selves are created throughout your life, why some become dominant, how trauma and culture shape them, and why healing is less about fixing yourself and more about becoming a wise parent to the many parts already living inside you. And perhaps you'll begin to see that the same process happening inside individuals is also happening inside families, societies, and even civilization itself. We spend our lives trying to answer one question: who am I? But perhaps the question itself is flawed. Imagine walking into a village and asking, which house is the village? The question doesn't make sense. The village is not one house. It is many houses connected together. Perhaps the human mind is similar. Perhaps what we call the self is not a single thing. Perhaps it is a community, a collection of different selves that developed across a lifetime. Inside you lives a fearful child, a hopeful child, an angry child, a lonely child, a curious child, a rebellious child, a loving child, a protective child, and depending on the situation, different parts step forward and take control. This explains something most people secretly notice but rarely discuss. You can be incredibly brave in one situation and deeply insecure in another. You can be wise with your friends but irrational with your spouse. You can be compassionate toward others and harsh toward yourself. Which one is the real you? The answer may be all of them, and none of them. Think about a man named Michael. At work, he is respected. He leads meetings. He makes decisions. People trust him. Then one day his father criticizes him. Suddenly he becomes defensive, emotional, reactive. The confident executive disappears. A different self emerges. A younger self. A child self. Many people assume this means something has gone wrong, but nothing went wrong. A different part simply took the steering wheel. The situation activated a different emotional world. The same thing happens in relationships. A woman can be successful, intelligent, independent, and emotionally stable. Then she falls in love. Suddenly fears appear, neediness appears, jealousy appears, not because she is weak, but because relationships activate parts of us that ordinary life never touches. Love doesn't create these parts. Love reveals them. This is why self-awareness matters so much. Most people spend their lives studying the world. Very few spend time studying the people who live inside them. They know the stock market. They know politics. They know celebrities. But they do not know the frightened child who appears whenever they feel rejected. They do not know the perfectionist who drives them relentlessly toward achievement. They do not know the lonely part that seeks validation from strangers. And what remains unknown often becomes our master, because what you don't understand controls you. What you understand begins to lose its power. Where do these inner selves come from? Part of the answer is biology. From the moment we are born, we are not identical. Some children arrive highly sensitive. Others arrive more resilient. Some are naturally cautious. Others are naturally adventurous. Temperament matters. Nature matters. But so does nurture. The environment shapes how these inner selves develop. Imagine two siblings raised in the same household. One child receives praise for achievement. The other receives praise for kindness. One learns that performance brings love. The other learns that harmony brings safety. Years later, they become adults. One struggles with perfectionism. The other struggles with people-pleasing. Same house. Different selves. Different stories. Different psychological villages. This is why no two children experience the same childhood, even when they grow up under the same roof. Because children do not merely inherit families. They inherit experiences, perceptions, meanings, and each child interprets those experiences differently. One event can create confidence in one child and fear in another. The external world may be the same, the internal world rarely is. And then there is something even deeper. Families do not merely pass down genetics, they pass down emotional worlds. A grandfather survives poverty. He becomes anxious about money. His son grows up watching that anxiety. The son becomes controlling. His daughter grows up learning that life is dangerous. 3 generations, one fear, many forms. This is often called intergenerational trauma. But trauma is only part of the story. Families also pass down courage, faith, humor, resilience, values, ways of seeing reality. Perhaps what travels across generations is not merely trauma. Perhaps what travels are perceptions, emotional energies, psychological habits, ways of relating to life itself. Most people think they are reacting to the present. Often they are reacting to ghosts, ghosts of old fears, old beliefs, old family stories, old emotional patterns. A voice in your head saying, "You're not good enough. Don't trust people. Never show weakness. Love must be earned." Where did these voices come from? Did you choose them? Or did they arrive before you were old enough to question them? Now here is where the story becomes hopeful. Because understanding your inner children is only half the journey. The second half is becoming their parent. Imagine your mind as a car. Inside the car are all your inner children. The scared child, the angry child, the lonely child, the ambitious child, the wounded child, the hopeful child. None of them are bad. None of them need to be eliminated. But none of them should be driving. The problem is that many adults spend their entire lives allowing children to hold the steering wheel. The angry child drives during arguments. The fearful child drives during uncertainty. The lonely child drives during relationships. And accidents happen. Not because the children are evil, because children were never meant to drive. Maturity begins when a new part emerges. The parent self, the wise observer, the compassionate leader, the adult within, the one who can say, "I see that you're afraid. I understand why you're angry. I know you're hurting. But I'm driving now." This is what healing actually feels like. Not the disappearance of fear, not the elimination of pain, not becoming a different person, but developing a stronger parent inside yourself. A parent capable of caring for every child within. And perhaps this lesson extends beyond individuals. Perhaps societies are going through the same process. For most of human history, cultures lived relatively separate lives. Different beliefs, different traditions, different values. Now the internet has brought everyone into the same room. Different psychological worlds are colliding every day. At first there is conflict, confusion, fear, misunderstanding. People clash, just as the different selves inside us often clash. But perhaps this is not a sign of failure. Perhaps it is part of evolution. Perhaps humanity itself is learning how to become a wiser parent. Learning how to integrate differences instead of fearing them. Learning how to hold multiple perspectives at once. Learning how to build larger villages. The same challenge exists both inside and outside. Can the fearful part coexist with the courageous part? Can different cultures coexist with one another? Can we stop trying to destroy what is different and start trying to understand it? Perhaps growth is always integration, never elimination. As we come to the end of this reflection, I want you to imagine something. Close your eyes and picture all the versions of yourself sitting together in one room. The scared child, the lonely child, the angry child, the dreamer, the achiever, the rebel, the caretaker, the wounded one, the hopeful one. They are all there. They have all been trying, in their own imperfect way, to help you survive. You do not need to reject them. You do not need to silence them. You do not need to shame them. You simply need to listen, understand, guide, and love them. Because healing is not becoming someone new. Healing is becoming a good home for everyone who already lives inside you. And perhaps the most mature thing a human being can say is not, "I have finally found myself," but rather, "I have finally learned how to care for all the selves that were waiting to be understood." Be gentle with yourself. Be curious about yourself. And remember, inside every adult is a village, and wisdom begins when the village finally finds a wise and loving parent. Thank you for watching this video. Please comment, share, and subscribe for more.